The thing was, it was so painful. I was in so much pain, so much agony. So when I walked out of there, I swear, I didn't want to get any other tattoo in my freaking life. Hi! What's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I want to talk about my experience getting tattoos. I now have 2 tattoos, one in my arm or behind my arm and the other on my cuff. So I kind of wanted to talk about that before I get to the end of the video, where I talk a bit more about what it's like 6 months post, and I hope my experience helps you have a better experience. So for my first tattoo, I actually went with my friend Grace. We went to No Regrets in London, and our tattoo artist was EE Ink. When you get there, you actually need to fill in a form with your information and then choose the size of your tattoo, place it, get the stencil applied. That's pretty basic, pretty standard. We actually had to let it dry for quite a bit, and only afterwards we went back and started getting comfortable to get the tattoo done. So what are your final thoughts?
Oh my gosh, it's so cute.
She was so cute.
It looks so good.
It took forever for something so small.
But it was really good actually.
Yeah, it didn't hurt.
It was like painless.
Almost. It was a weird feeling, but it was fine. Now we're friends forever. How do you feel?
Are we actually twins?
Good morning. So today is the tattoo day, and I barely slept, tossing and turning the entire night. I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about it. I was so scared that I hated the design, that the design didn't represent what I wanted it to be, and I'm so scared. I'm thinking of like canceling the appointment. That's how scared I am. And not just that, it's because like of how I feel about the first tattoo I got. It's not that I don't like it, I still like it, but like there's flaws, because I didn't realize that if I put it where I put it, like behind my elbow, when I fold it, it expands, and I don't like that it expands because I thought the size wasn't going to change. But it's that thing where it's out of my control, and I had to accept that when I got into it. And now I'm thinking like, what if I get a bigger one? And I have this like feeling of like super like stressed about it, because I do stress about the little things. It's like the details, and I think everyone I've seen who has tattoo or like talked about it, they're like,
oh yeah, there's this one thing that I don't like.
and I'm like, okay, is that like a thing, and is that something I can live with? And I don't think that's something I can fully live with unless I'm absolutely in love with the design. But I haven't seen the design because you can only see it when you go to the parlor, and that is driving me absolutely nuts. I know I can walk out, and that's the thing, I have to have that mindset where if I don't feel comfortable, if I don't love the design, if I'm not like, yes, I will not do it, and I have to have that mindset. Yeah, what am I doing? I'm not like, oh my god guys, my tattoo. I'm like, oh my god guys, a tattoo. I somehow gathered enough energy and strength to get out of the house and actually go to this appointment, but I was still super stressed, and I was overthinking the whole process and the whole thing in my head. I arrived at South City Market. My artist was Rebecca, and I was waiting for her at the lobby. But yeah, you fill in the form, you do the usual thing, and you wait. Once she arrived, we actually started going through the sketches. She actually had 2 sketches. I chose this one that she's tweaking right now, and we went through all of the things I wanted to add and all the things I wanted to remove. The process was really smooth, and she was super lovely about it, super supportive, so it was very loving, welcoming environment, and I had no pressure to say yes or no to it. After chatting to her for a bit, I actually decided to go through with the tattoo because I feel safe, comfortable. I really like the result. I really like how it's representing everything that I value, and yeah. We decided to place it on my cuff. We discussed sizes and how it would look, how it would heal, and things like that. So I just felt really safe to go ahead and do it. But guys, oh my god, this tattoo was extremely freaking painful. It was 3 hours long as well, and I was absolutely dying. But it felt like 30 minutes, even though it was really painful. But really long. I actually really loved the results. I was super happy, super excited. It was a good vibe, it was a good environment, and I liked the results. So yeah. There's like a lot of liquid. It's not that much liquid though. I thought it would be worse. And it's really, really hot. I am a little swollen. My muscle hurt so bad when I was walking home. Like someone actually like punched my leg for like 10 times. Yeah, it hurts quite a bit. The thing was, it was so painful. I was in so much pain, so much agony. So when I walked out of there, I swear I didn't want to get any other tattoo in my freaking life, because it actually felt like a cat claw in my skin going down like slowly and like just like many times on the same spot. Like, it was agonizing. But then again, it went by so fast. I'm still open to getting another tattoo, not right now, and I think I would only do a tattoo if it was really meaningful to me. Initially, I would have done like aesthetic tattoos just because I think it's beautiful. I think it's really cool to get tattoos. But now that I did that tattoo and I went through what I went through, I would definitely not just casually get another tattoo, especially if it's gonna be like very big, very designy, not single needle tattoos. Basically, I don't think I can go through it. Thing I really wanted to talk about, when I left the parlor for my second tattoo, I was stressed because it gave me such a sense of anxiety. Like, all the joy and happiness that I felt when I was at the parlor, when I saw my tattoo, I was genuinely really happy and excited. But the minute I told my parents and I had to send it in the group chat, I was terrified because I didn't want people to make me question the whole thing, because I saw it and I was like, yeah, it's really pretty, but it's also quite big. Like, that fear you have at the end, oh my god, what did I do? And it was such a horrendous feeling to have. Like, it was so bad, and I was like, oh my god, I want to rip it out of my leg. Even though my parents weren't really happy about me getting a tattoo, the way they responded to it was really, I received it really nicely, even though it was criticism still. It's that understanding that it's a permanent thing and that there was nothing that could be done. Like, I couldn't just like peel it off of my skin and that's it. If you have friends or family that got tattooed, whether you approve of it or not, or if you want to express your feelings or thoughts about it, if they ask for it, because honestly, just keep it to yourself otherwise. The way you would phrase criticism towards a tattoo has to be very specific, and I think that's something that I learned just like from my experience with my parents. Of course, I still make my own decisions and I don't need anyone's like real approval, but I just don't want my parents' disapproval. I want to say that I do not regret getting either of my tattoos. Like, I love them, I'm happy about them. I feel like I'm still getting used to the fact that they're permanent and people notice it. I don't know. Like, I don't see them, by the way. So I barely notice they're there, and I'm very conscious about it when I put skirts or dresses or things like that I know they're gonna show, because I know people might point it out to me. But yeah, I don't regret them. I think I've learned so much from my first tattoo that when I got my second tattoo, it really came like I guess it is a blessing to have had these like challenges with it. Thank goodness it wasn't a bigger tattoo, because I would cry. And honestly, I was so careful with the calf one, and maybe that's why this one healed so perfectly. Your tattoo will heal a certain way and will look a certain way. Your movements might make you look a certain way as well. That's just how the body works, so you have to accept that. Also, I'm sure people are thinking about it and look at it. It looks faded, it looks old. Why don't I just touch it up and just get it sorted? I don't value that tattoo enough to touch it up. It was £100, and I personally don't think this is worth £100. I'm also quite worried that if I do touch it up, because the lines have blurred a bit, I feel like if someone traces over it, it's gonna get thicker and then it's gonna age worse. I'd rather it fade away than for it to like show a lot more. That's why. When your tattoo has a lot of details, when it heals or when it ages, it might actually like blur out. Also, tattoos might leak. That happens to a few people, where the ink kind of leaks into the body and it starts like spreading a bit. It can make it even harder to see the details. You might need to adjust the size to account for all those details and all those future factors. For the location, I think there's two things. Firstly, for the healing, because I put it here and I put a lot of sweaters, plus it was winter, so there was a lot of friction going on and the healing did not happen properly, amongst many other factors for my downfall there. Second, for aging, because some parts will be more exposed to sunlight, and having sun exposure on your tattoos actually ages them and fades them a lot quick. I really thought about all of these details before choosing where and how to place my tattoo. One other thing about sizing and placement of your tattoo would also be the fact that people will judge you on your tattoos. I'm not saying you should listen to people's opinions. Unfortunately, tattoos are still seen very poorly. It gives a bad image of you. It might affect your chances of getting a job, things like that. So I would just be sure that if you get a certain position, certain location, certain size, it doesn't impact your job, and you can still potentially cover it up when you need to cover it up without too much hassle. To find the tattoo artist and style, I think the first thing is to just explore and go on Instagram, go on Pinterest, and just see as many tattoo styles as you possibly can. Just expose yourself to everything and more. Don't just stick to one. Like, if you really like one, like, okay, have it there, but explore everything, because generally you can change your mind. And I've personally changed my mind on the style and the design I wanted for like my calf tattoo so many times, because it's supposed to represent my family and things like that. And one day I stumbled upon the tarot card style, and so I just went with that, and I started just building on to what I wanted the tattoo to represent and what the symbolism needed to be. When it came to finding out the style, I liked the artist that I chose, and I just let her do her design. But I had sent like a little rough draft of what I liked, and I just let her like tweak it to her style and to just be nicer as well and unique. Also, when you're looking for a specific artist or a specific art style, I would always research how the tattoo heals, because your tattoo will look a certain way when you first get it. Once it's healed, so like a few months afterwards, it might look slightly different. And of course, you might be unhappy with the result. So just make sure that the tattoo style that you're getting heals the way you want it to heal, and heals or would look the way you want it to heal. Not just the style, but how the artist actually does it. Some artists are more qualified than others, so when their tattoos heal, they might not look as good. Once you found the artist and the tattoo you want to do, I think these are 3 things that you should just have in mind. So do check reviews online about the artist, the place, not just because of the art style, but also because of the hygiene. I think people forget that needles are involved. Make sure you feel comfortable and safe in that environment in the studio, because if you don't, I don't even think you should even move forward. Like, if you walk through the door and you don't think it's clean, if you don't think it's a single-use needle, if you don't think things are being managed properly, if you don't think your tattoo artist is nice and like welcoming, like, these random factors do impact the result on your tattoo, do impact you as a person. And since it's permanent, I don't think it's worth messing about. I think when you walk into a tattoo parlor, first of all, don't do walk-ins. Avoid walk-in shops, simply because there's so many things to research about the artist, the tattoo, the style, the everything. I don't recommend doing big tattoos on a whim on walk-ins. But that's just my opinion as a friend. Don't do it. Walk in knowing that you can walk out at any point. Super important, and that's a mindset that really helps me relax and help me decide whether or not I want to go through my tattoo. It's important that you stand your grounds, and if you want to leave because you don't feel like going through it anymore, you leave. Any good parlor and tattoo artist would understand the decision, and I think would actually encourage you to be more responsible. Of course, it's a bit disrespectful to waste their time, but it's important for them to know that you're happy and comfortable to be there, and you'll be happy with the results. Finally, the last thing you should always do before getting a tattoo is do your research. The way you're doing it with this video, probably. Watch a lot of maybe YouTube videos, reviews, thoughts about placements, healing, all of that stuff, because I think it's really important to walk in knowing exactly what you're going to go through, what it feels like, what the healing process is, all these little steps and all those little details you might miss. This is it for today's video. I really hope it helped, and I hope you will have a great experience if you get tattoos. Bye.